There is a long lineup in a big box shopping outlet on a hot, busy Saturday afternoon, because of the major advertised sales and the fact that the monthly government checks had come in the day before. The next gentleman in the longest line, dressed slovenly in dirty jeans, a ragged football jacket, dirty half-cut leather boots, and a trucker's cap pulled low over dark, unruly hair, and carrying only 3 items in his hands, lets out a very heavy sigh, right through his COVID-protecting mask. A few moments later, seeing no response from anyone, he lets out a groan, loud. No one seems to pay any attention to him, which he doesn't like. Then he turns, hesitates, and steps closer to the obviously older man behind him, lowers his mask, and says, indignantly, "What the hell is going on here? I've been here over 20 minutes, standing around waiting to bring supper home, and there is nothing happening. I have a damn good mind to just drop this shit and leave. And don't get me started on trying to find parking around here. Must be a lot of old ladies driving today, each of 'em take up 2 spots. Why don't they just take a bus? It would probably be quicker. All the cashiers look like they are working, but nobody is moving. You think they would have more staff here on a Saturday? Open up more tills, if only until the majority of the customers are served, then they can go back to their kimchi." At first the older man pretends not to notice him, and says nothing, just continues leaning on his cart and looking down. Being obviously ignored appears to further aggravate the younger guy. He steps even closer, trying to look at the older guy's face. He raises his voice. "Heh, old man, I was just saying that there are not enough workers here. Or people here who are supposed to be working, who can't even hardly speak our language. They bring them over here so they can fire the white people with seniority, and pay them minimum wage, and no union benefits. I guess, watching them, that is all they deserve. But why do we have to suffer? Hell, there are 3 of them just standing over there in customer service. To handle all the customers, what do you think?" The older guy seems to think for a moment, then says, "Well, they are doing the best they can. Maybe some staff called in sick. Maybe they found that there were not that many customers for a while, and cut back on the staff hours. As for older women taking a bus, do you have any idea how silly that sounds? They would still come shopping, they probably have families to feed also, and have to get home to make them supper. And they would still have to wait in line. Then what, take a taxi, or wait for a returning bus? Why would you want to take away a basic human right? Do you have anyone you need to cook for? And if you discard your 3 items, you will either have to start shopping again some other place, and this is Saturday, or go without your intended supper. A lot of what the company saves gets returned to us in the form of lower prices, who knows? And isn't customer service their main job, and exactly what you are looking for now? But I am sure they are doing the best they can, that is how they make their money." To this the young guy says, quite loudly, "Well, I am sure you are right about the money part, the rest of your crap is just blah blah blah. I mean, look, all these so-called cashiers are foreigners. They send all their money back to their country. And they don't give a shit about us real citizens. And half, you can't even understand. So they just put in their time and don't give a shit about anybody else, or our needs, or time. Now." The older man, after politely asking the young guy to put his mask back on and step on the indicated spaces, says, "You know, son. Look around. There are at least 20 other customers in this store. Some are, as you say, foreigners, spending their money, providing for their families, and adding to society. They are waiting patiently in lineups, just like you. But unlike you, they are doing it courteously. And do you hear any other person complaining, much less causing such a scene? Where were your ancestors from?" The young guy looks shocked. He definitely was not expecting this kind of response from another white guy. And older, so he was not prepared to let it go. So he says, "First of all, I am not your son. By the looks of you, you could never have kids. Hell, you are probably a fag. And what is with such a fancy speech? Are you trying to be a hero because everyone is listening?" The older guy says, "Everyone is listening because you are making a huge scene, and criticizing people and things you know nothing about. Now, please, can we just get back to waiting in line? Fuck you, you old ass licker, you are lucky I don't just drag you outside and kick the shit out of you. Then the older guy stops leaning on his cart, stands straight up, pauses, and with a lowered voice, he looks the guy in the face and says, I do not think that it is such a wise idea. First of all, son, you can't. Besides, then you would lose your hard-gotten spot in line. Think of the wait then, or maybe no supper at all. The young guy starts laughing, almost choking, derisively. Okay, let's play your game for a moment, old man. How can you, an old farmer, tell me I can't do anything I want to you? Son, or no son? Because obviously someone has to, and I am hoping if I do, no one else will get involved or be hurt or insulted by your actions. I am Tom Gwynn. 54, I have 3 children. 2 in university. Whom I am very proud of, they worked for everything they got. I am only half white, though my ancestors have been in Canada for 4 generations, and owned the same land they worked so hard for, and finally passed down to me. And yes, though I am a farmer, I am also the 4th degree black belt who owns Oriental Kung Fu. And you would wake up in the hospital before you could pull that illegal knife you are wearing on your belt. What would you do next?